Being one of the most violent sports in the world comes with a bit of a caveat, and some MMA fighters can have trouble outside the octagon as much as they do inside. Cain Velasquez, for example, has been in a lot of trouble post-retirement, and things still don't look very good for him. Just a year ago, he made it to the news because of a very troubling case. On February 28, 2022, there was an alleged shooting incident in Santa Clara County, California, where Velasquez aimed to hit a man named Harry Gallart Jr. The reason behind the incident gets even more disturbing. The guy, Harry Gallart, had been arrested previously for allegedly committing child sexual abuse on Velasquez's son. Very conveniently, the place where the incident happened was a daycare owned by Gallart's family. The unfortunate part, and the one which probably triggered Velasquez, is that Gallart was released on a personal recognizance bond way before the shooting took place. It was reported that Velasquez chased the vehicle that Gallart Jr. was in, and before firing his gun, he rammed the vehicle. But the shot that he took actually hit Gallart's stepfather instead of him, who received non-life-threatening injuries.
I want to thank everybody who helped me, aka Joe Grasso, and right now I want to go home.
But that didn't mean he wouldn't have to face the consequences of his actions. Velasquez was arrested and charged with several criminal offenses. In addition to that, Velasquez's bail was denied twice, even though his lawyer tried all that he could. The case was given several continuances and was rescheduled multiple times before Velasquez was granted $1 million bail on November 8th. He was placed under house arrest until the conclusion of his trial, although he did get permission to travel to Tempe, Arizona to participate in a wrestling event, but not without the assistance of police.
How's it feel to be out?
Appreciate it, man. Oh, I just feel blessed, ready to go home.
Surprisingly, Velasquez participated in the event on December 3rd and won his return match. But the case is still in the middle of nowhere and things don't seem to be going anywhere. Only recently,
I just thought you had to train and fight, and I was like, cool. It's part of the sport, so, I do it and everything else.
the accused molester Harry Gallart, who was also a target of Velasquez's shooting, got his pretrial hearing delayed once again. It was announced on the 17th of January in a hearing that lasted for just a single minute. This is the third time that the hearing has been pushed back, and now everybody's gotta wait till the 27th of next month to see where the case goes next. And Cain Velasquez is followed by a bunch of other UFC fighters who have seen a lot of trouble with the law. BJ Penn, for example, at one point in time, the guy used to be one of the biggest names in the sport. And why wouldn't he?
I become the welterweight champion of the world, and at that point, I was in too deep.
He had exceptional performances across multiple weight classes to show for it, but none of it lasted forever. In the later stages of his career, his performance in the ring began to deteriorate. He lost 7 of his last 8 fights, and 1 ended in a draw. Additionally, reports suggest that he began to struggle with alcohol addiction during this period. There could be several reasons for why he fell out of his amazing form at the end, but with his alcohol addiction on the record, all arrows seem to point in one direction.
He's the Strikeforce champion, and I'm going to go out there and give him my best shot.
And then how would you deny having various videos circulating on the internet that show him getting into physical altercations on the street? In fact, back in January 2015, he was arrested for assault following a bar fight in Hawaii. Subsequently, similar events happened in 2019. There were more videos emerging of him getting involved in brawls while under the influence of alcohol. Oh, how an addiction can take you places you never want to be in. But it's not just alcohol that gets you in legal troubles. Like in the case of Anthony Johnson, alcohol's got no part. Having said that, his crimes are not some that can be ignored. Johnson, who is now a Bellator fighter, was once known for being one of the most powerful and feared knockout artists in the UFC.
Thank you for being a professional and showing the world what professional athletes are all about, especially with all the stuff going on.
He gained a huge following for his brutal knockouts of fighters like Glover Teixeira, Ryan Bader, and Alexander Gustafsson. But while he was having his battles in the ring, he was also facing multiple legal issues outside of it. Back in 2009, he was straight up charged with domestic battery and pleaded no contest. Well, that solves it. And believe it or not, it gets worse. In 2014, he was accused of domestic abuse, but no charges were filed.
I just show them respect. We come out here and this is not just a fight. We put our life on the line, because if we get hit the wrong way, something bad can seriously happen.
This was followed by a string of similar accusations in 2019, but the case was dismissed after he reached a joint agreement with prosecutors. Recently, it was reported that he was arrested in Fairfield County, Connecticut, and charged with identity theft for allegedly using a stolen credit card to pay for a flight from Newark to Fort Lauderdale. Come on, man, what are you doing? And speaking of repeat offenders, how can we forget the dubliner? Enter Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor is one of the most well-known and accomplished fighters in the history of the UFC.
I would have been happy to lose. I would have been happy losing money here, to be honest with you. I just wanted to buy it, redo it.
There's not an ounce of doubt about that, even among his biggest haters. Having achieved victories in 3 different weight divisions is no easy thing, and then going one step forward to even competing in a high-profile boxing match against Floyd Mayweather, well, that's impressive. The dude does have a problem of trash-talking a bit too much, but that's a topic for another day. Now, keeping in mind how ridiculously popular McGregor is, it makes sense that people question whether he can even handle all that comes his way. With the immense fame and wealth that he has attained in a short period of time, some have suggested that he has had difficulty coping with the pressures of the spotlight, and not without evidence. The guy has a worrying level of rage issues. Not that any level of rage is acceptable, but you get what I'm trying to say. He's been involved in multiple legal issues, many of which have been widely reported in the media.
I am not anywhere close to Muhammad Ali. That was a special man, and I am just a simple young kid from Crumlin.
Of course. One of the most high-profile incidents was when McGregor flew to the United States to confront Khabib Nurmagomedov after hearing that his teammate, Artem Lobov, had been involved in an altercation with Khabib.
A long night for him. It's gonna be a long night for him. He knows this.
Lord, Jamie, that's
He knows
tasty.
this.
He and his entourage chased after Khabib's bus, and McGregor ended up throwing a metal dolly at the bus, shattering the window and injuring several people, although the dubliner later turned himself in to the authorities. In addition to that, McGregor has had a history of legal issues when it comes to driving, including but not limited to reckless driving, driving without a license or proper documents, and speeding.
Before me, there was no Irishman that had succeeded in the UFC. There was no one. I could not look to my mother and father.
And imagine this, these are considered to be among the least severe of his legal issues. God. Similarly, one other name has been in and out of legal issues for the past many years. Yes, I'm talking about Jon Jones, the guy that many consider to be one of the greatest fighters in the MMA's history.
How are you,
up,
John?
baby? Oh, I'm great, man. I'm glad to be here.
You look great.
Thank you. Yeah,
You letting the hair grow a bit? What's happening?
No, I'm actually gonna shave it off again for the fight.
But despite having an impressive record of 28 wins, his entire career has constantly been overshadowed by legal troubles. In 2015, Jon was involved in a hit-and-run accident that left a pregnant woman injured. He was arrested and charged with leaving the scene of an accident and, as a cherry on top, also possessed drugs. As a result, Jones was stripped of his light heavyweight title and suspended from the UFC. Jones has also been involved in other incidents.
So day 1 on 4. And just a few weeks out from my first heavyweight championship.
Including a physical altercation with rival Daniel Cormier at a media event and a drug test failure. No, we understand that. The drug possession explained that for us. But that's not all. He was charged with assault after allegedly assaulting a waitress at a strip club. A year later, he was arrested for driving under the influence, negligent use of firearms, and driving without proof of insurance. In 2020, Jones was arrested for domestic battery after an incident involving his then-fiancée, Jessie Moses.
So I have this, I'm going to share something with, I'm not sure if I've ever shared this with anyone else before, but I had this crazy thing that I would do.
It's like Jones actually enjoys doing all of this. Really though, how can you be on the bad side every time? Well, if you figure it out, let me know in the next video.